When horror movies are at their best, they mean something or they're reacting to something. Sure, they're scary, sometimes gory, all the trappings of a horror movie, but the foundation of a good horror movie is usually, like I said, a reaction to something or it has something to say. That is why I love the movies of the 1970s the most, because they were the most reactionary. We still get them today, but very seldom, and we haven't gotten a good sort of reactionary horror movie in quite a while. My favorite is the original Dawn of the Dead. Sure, the remake is fun. The Zack Snyder remake is fun, but it misses the entire point of the original film. And Zack Snyder's film is like cotton candy. It tastes good, it's fun for a minute, and then it's gone. Whereas the original film, the more you watch it, the more you start to see what it's trying to say. It's no coincidence the original Dawn of the Dead was shot in this country's first large indoor mall, because that entire film, while it's gory and scary and funny, is also about consumerism, about consumption, about capitalism. Why do you think the zombies actually still try to shop at one point? Because it is what is in them systemically. I want to bring this up now because I am so happy to see this year we are having some horror movies that are reacting to the times in which we exist. The ones I'm thinking of right now are Immaculate and The First Omen. Both good movies in my opinion. Immaculate's good. The First Omen is slightly better. I'm going to do a separate video on The First Omen, but they are both about women forced to give birth against their will by old conservative evangelical men, white men specifically. If you don't think that's reacting to the times that we live in, you really are missing the boat. Now, there are people that are going to say, oh, I don't want politics in my movies. I don't want my movies to preach to me. Well, as humans, things that happen around us impact us. And that is going to come through in the writing we create, in the art we create. The only time that doesn't happen is films like Blumhouse films, where they're made by committee, made by marketing people. They're really there to try and trade on people's love of a existing IP, especially when you're talking about legacy films, or to get that quick dollar and forget about it. Very disposable. But when you have a filmmaker making a film, that person's feelings are going to come through. And I think it's important. I think that's what makes movies last. Movies like the most recent Exorcist attempt, that movie will disappear if it hasn't already disappeared. But The First Omen is something that's going to stick around because it does have something to say. People will look back on that movie 20 years from now and remark on how it was a sign of the times in which it was made. You can look back on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like my friend Chuck talks about, and understand where that movie is coming from. I think horror is often underestimated because there's so much cotton candy out there. You look at Candyman, for example, and that entire movie is an observation about gentrification and classism and racism. The People Under the Stairs, the same thing. There are great, iconic horror movies, and 9 times out of 10 they have something a little more to say than what's on the surface, and I love that. Tell me what you think in the comments. Let's talk about it, and until next time, keep watching movies.